Regardless of what political side you affiliate yourself with, after this last election, you should be angry, sad, and ashamed. After doing my research for this video and watching the hearings in Michigan, listening to the testimony of dozens of regular citizens, there's no doubt in my mind that this election was full of fraud. The following are facts and actual events that took place during the election. If you disagree, think I'm lying, or taking anything out of context, please leave a comment below. We need to start listening to each other so we can have a conversation about how we, the people, can take back our country from the crooked politicians and agenda-driven media. Please share this video if you know someone who could benefit from this info.
Play with my feelings and you gon' catch feelings. Yo, people gon' feel it. I ran with the villains, was willing and dealing. I'm worth a few million, I'm chasing the billion. I'm up like a ceiling, I'm really a real. A batcher of beats from the soil, and you could get popped like a boil. Boy, you gon' leak like some oil. Walk up on me and I'm dumping. As long as I can see it coming, it's on. If I run out of ammo, I'm running. I'm gone, even though I'm an animal. Long as I done made it home. Got a family to feed and I'm grown. Good Lord, baby.
President Trump received more votes than any previous incumbent seeking re-election. He got 11 million more votes than in 2016. The third largest rise in support ever for an incumbent. By way of comparison, President Obama was comfortably re-elected in 2012 with 3.5 million fewer votes than he received in 2008. He earned the highest share of all minority votes for a Republican since 1960. Trump grew his support among black voters by 50% over 2016. Nationally, Joe Biden's black support fell well below 90%, the level below which Democratic presidential candidates usually lose. Trump increased his share of the national Hispanic vote to 35%. With 60% or less of the national Hispanic vote, it is mathematically impossible for a Democratic presidential candidate to win Florida, Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico. Bellwether states swung further in Trump's direction than in 2016. Florida, Ohio, and Iowa each defied America's media polls with huge wins for Trump. Since 1852, only Richard Nixon has lost the Electoral College after winning this trio. Midwestern states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin always swing in the same direction as Ohio and Iowa, their regional peers. Ohio likewise swings with Florida. Current tallies show that, outside of a few cities, the Rust Belt swung in Trump's direction. Yet Biden leads in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin because of an apparent avalanche of black votes in Detroit, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee. Biden's winning margin was derived almost entirely from such voters in these cities, as coincidentally, his black vote spiked only in exactly the locations necessary to assure victory. He did not receive comparable levels of support among comparable demographic groups in comparable states, which is highly unusual for the presidential victor. We are told that Biden won more votes nationally than any presidential candidate in history, but he won a record low of 17% of counties. He only won 524 counties, as opposed to the 873 counties Obama won in 2008. Yet Biden somehow outdid Obama in total votes? Let's look at anomalies. Late on election night, with Trump comfortably ahead, many swing states stopped counting ballots. In most cases, observers were removed from the county facilities. Counting generally continued without the observers. Statistically abnormal vote counts were the new normal when counting resumed. They were unusually large in size, hundreds of thousands, and had an unusually high 90% and above Biden to Trump ratio. Late arriving ballots were counted. In Pennsylvania, 23,000 absentee ballots have impossible postal return dates, and another 86,000 have such extraordinary return dates they raise serious questions. There was a failure to match signatures to mail-in ballots, not to mention the destruction of mail-in ballot envelopes that must have signatures in order to count. historically low absentee ballot rejection rates, despite the massive expansion of mail voting, such as Biden's narrow margin that, as political analyst Robert Barnes observes, if the state simply imposed the same absentee ballot rejection rate as recent cycles, then Trump wins the election. In Delaware County, Pennsylvania, 50,000 votes held on 47 USB cards are missing. Non-resident voters still voted. Matt Brainerd's Voter Integrity Project estimates that 20,312 people who no longer met residency requirements cast ballots in Georgia. Biden's margin is 12,670 votes. There were serious chain of custody breakdowns, invalid residential addresses, record numbers of dead people voting, ballots in pristine condition without creases, that is, they had not been mailed in envelopes as required by law. In Georgia, Biden overtook Trump with 89% of the votes counted. For the next 53 batches of votes counted, Biden led Trump by the same exact 50 to 49% margin in every single batch. It is particularly perplexing that all statistical anomalies and tabulation abnormalities were in Biden's favor. Whether the cause was simply human error or nefarious activity or a combination, clearly something ain't right.